Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. And welcome back to the latest edition of It's Chris Whitley Wednesday. On today's show, I will be reviewing Chris Whitley's 14th album. This was also his second live album and his third posthumous album. This was released on October 20, 2008 on Traditional and Modern Records on air. This is a live performance that was recorded on September 8th, 2003 at Radio Bremen Sondersaal in Bremen, Germany, as part of their Sparkhaus in Concert series. This was recorded by the Radio Bremen crew. And this album, unlike Live at Martyrs, is more laid back. It hits almost all of his albums up until this point. Hotel Vast Horizon would be the latest release at this point. What's really cool about this album, it doesn't repeat anything from Live at Martyrs. It does have 3 songs that were recorded in acoustic versions on Weed. And of course, with this album, all we have is Chris Whitley on lead vocals, foot stomp, as national steel string guitar. So, this, as I mentioned, hits most of his albums, primarily the Rocket House album from 2001 and the covers album from the previous year called Perfect Day. We have a few other cover songs on here that weren't on any other albums. And as of as those songs that were on Perfect Day, he definitely makes these songs his own. Definitely closer to a chill out album here. Very intimate performance. Chris is in fine voice throughout. Wonderful live album. It's probably one of his harder to find albums, although you can get this out on Discogs or eBay. And of course, you can listen to this on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Let's get into the tracks here. We start with 2 cover songs. We have J.J. Cale's The Old Man and Me, which is done very well. And he does Drifting on here as Chris, which this is the Jimi Hendrix song that he covered on Rocket House. The songs that, I'm sorry, not Rocket House, it would have been Perfect Day. The songs that were on Perfect Day from 2000, very similar versions on here. Chris sings these with a lot of class and passion. These are both very strong versions of the J.J. Cale and Jimi Hendrix song, respectively. Kick the Stones is one of the 2 songs that represents living with the law in here. And that's one thing that's really cool about this album because Living with the Law is Chris's most successful album. He could have went and hit that album really hard and a follow-up Din of Ecstasy hard, but he chose not to. There's only 3 songs from the 3 albums that were on a major label here in the United States. So Kick the Stones is a really cool version on here. You don't have the harmonica that you had on the original version for Living with the Law, but it's very well done. It's similar in scope to the version that's on Weed. The version of Clear Blue Sky in here kicks ass. I like this version more than the one on Terry Incognita. And there's going to be a bit of a trend here when I talk about some of these songs compared to the originals that were on the albums that had a lot more going on in the recording studio as far as the recording and production goes. Light Rain or Light Rain Blues is a traditional blues song, most famously done by Taj Mahal. This is a very nice version. Interestingly, Taj Mahal played that on banjo, and Chris is doing this on his national guitar. Very well done. She's All Right. This is a cover of the Muddy Waters song. He did this on Perfect Day. Very nice version. And we get to the first of 2 songs that represent Hotel Vast Horizon. New Lost World, very similar in scope to the original version. Very well done. And then we get to the opening track that was on Rocket House, To Joy, Revolution of the Innocents. A much more organic and stark version, a lot more kinetic version. That version, we have the turntables going on, the soundscapes, we got a lot going on amidst the banjo on here. This is a faster version, like I said, more organic. I love this version. And I do tend to like songs more in their organic form, although I do really like and respect what Chris did on the Rocket House album. I do think that the songs that were originally on Rocket House sound wonderful on here in their more stark, organic, acoustic form. Excellent version. Crystal Ship is the song from the Doors self-titled debut. Very well done on here, is as is the version of Bob Dylan's Fourth Time Around, which I think he sings this very well in that falsetto voice that Chris would occasionally go to into in his live performances on the studio albums. Got a great version of Vertical Desert on here, which was originally on Rocket House. Very, very nice. Got the title track from Hotel Vasta Rising. Very, very strong as well. Has that same laid back feel that you had on that album. Scrapyard Lullaby. This is the song that represents Dirt Floor. Very nice version here. He's not going into the falsetto as much on here, but it's very well done. And we go with our second song from Phone Call from Leavenworth here. I'm sorry, from Living with the Law, with the song Phone Call from Leavenworth. And I've always liked the original the best just because Chris sang the hell out of that song on here. Here it's a little more laid back, just as the acoustic version is on Weed. Then we go into two more songs from the Rocket House album, and these are both definitely different because, of course, they're more stark nature. We got a version of From a Photograph, which is a little faster, doesn't have all the soundscapes going on. It's a very nice version. Shadowland is the next track. That was a hidden track that was at the end of Rocket House, and I really like this version here. It's more tribal on the studio version. Here, I like it more, and it's more bare bones form. And we end the proper set with a cover of Buddy Holly's Well All Right, which has been covered by many artists, including Santana and Blind Faith. This is a very sensual version of Well All Right. It's done a lot slower, a lot more focus on Chris's falsetto voice on here. He definitely makes this song his own, and he does with all the covers, but here he really truly does. It is a very nice version. Last track on here is Velocity Girl, which was on Dislocation Blues, which was a posthumous album from 2006. And this was also on the Pigs Will Fly soundtrack that Chris had done a few years earlier. And just like the version on Dislocation Blues, it is a very stark, riveting version. Very well done. Very strong live album. We got 18 tracks. Clocks in at just under 75 minutes. Chris Whitley's On Air from 2008. Now, have you heard this album? And if you have, what do you think of this album? And what do you think of Chris's versions on here compared to the studio versions that were on the previous albums? Please let me know in the comments. So next week will be the last show of the It's Chris Whitley Wednesday series. And what I'll be doing is doing a ranking the albums. And I will also touch on this anthology that came out that covers 1991 to 2001, those works on Chris Whitley, Long Way Around, an anthology. This album has a lot of demo versions, and it has some songs that were not released originally. We got, of course, a lot of the songs that were in the original form from the proper studio albums, but we got some remixes on here, a lot of different stuff. And this is pretty heavy on the first two albums. I'm sorry, Living with the Law and Din of Ecstasy. Although we do have a few other songs on here from Terra Incognita and Dirt Floor and Rocket House as well. So that will be the end of the series. I will be putting that out on Wednesday, April 16, 2025. So just to let you know of some programming notes, this past Monday night, I was on Grant's Rock Warehouse. I was joined by, of course, the incomparable Grant Arthur, as well as John Clauser, or Johnny Metal to a lot of you, DC Tune Time, BM Bolts, Yvonne the Music Man. We covered our 10 favorite songs from 1989. That show went off very, very well. We will be doing a show on 1990 on the first Monday in 2025. I also will be recording a show that will be played in the future on the Contrarians, where a group of us will be doing a Dark Horse album. In this case, we will be doing Motorhead's Overnight Sensation. I gave you a little spoiler there because we've yet to record the show. I'm going to be recording it this coming Saturday. I'm gathering it's going to come out near the end of April, probably maybe early May. So, thank you all so much for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for this series. Until I see you again, do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.